श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। नित्याल विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्याल विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल विष्णु महाभगवत श्री गोरक्षरस बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नित्याल विश्व श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्याल विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौड़िया गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौरमंडल ब्रजमंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभीष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय श्री भजन रहस्य की जय। श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। श्री चैतन्य शिक्षाष्टक की जय। जय श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। We'll do the Mangala Charan and then begin. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Tividito Gaudiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Maya Bharati Mingilo Daragatan Udritya Jivaniman Krishna Prema Sudabdika Hana Sukhang Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje Vande Bhakti Vinodang Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajang Radha Rasa Sudha Nidhim Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayang Rupa Kada Mahyang Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vrishabhanusutanvitavamattanum Yamunatatanagaranandasutam Murali Kalagita Vinoraparang Bhajagodrumakanana Kunjavidum Smaragauраgadadharakeli Bhavagouragadadhara Pakshachara Shrenugouragadadhara Charukatang bhajago drumakanana kunjavidum. Tavai vasmi, na jivami tvaya vina, iti vigyaya devi tvang, nayamang charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshai, kshiptastakama ditaranga madhe, kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna, vrinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Saruparaya Sangha Harsha Shesha Ghoshanam Shikshanashtakakya Krishna Kirtanaika Poshanam Prema Nama Matra Vishwa Jivanaika Sambharang Prema Dhama Devam Eva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Premor Bhavita Harsheryo Dvega Danyarti Mishritam Lapitam Chandrasya Bhagyavadbhir Prabhur Shikshashtak Shlok Jai Pore Shune Krishna Prem Bhakti Tar Bare Dine Dine. Whoever reads or hears the Lord Shikshashtak verses will find their Prem Bhakti to Krishna growing more and more each day. Okay, now let's recite the Shikshashtak and then I will see who has joined us. One second, where are we? Where is it? Songs one. Oh, there it is. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam Vidyavadhu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam Purnamrita svadanam Sarvatma snapanang param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudha Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva me drishamiha janina nuraga Trinarapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada hari na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagarisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishvare भवतार भक्तिर अहैतुकी त्वयि ऐनन्दतनुज किङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पारपङ्कज स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुद्धया गिरा पुलकार्निचितं वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे आश्लिषवापाररतं पिनष्टुमम् अदर्शनान् मर्महतं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातुलं पटो mat prananatastu sa eva na param. So we're going over the second verse of Shikshashtakam. Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrarpita niyamitas marane nakala etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam idrishamiha janinanuraga. You have manifested Akari. You have manifested Bahuda. Numerous, so many Nam names. And Tatra, therein, in those names, you have Arpita, you have invested, you have placed Nija Sarva Shakti, all of your own potencies, all of your Shaktis within those names. All the potency that you have, all that potency is within the names. Which is, yeah, Krishna is the entirety of all Shakti. I mean, like, he's Shaktiman. So Nam is also, I guess, Shaktiman, right? Okay, so Niyamita Smarane Nakala. Smarane, in remembering these names, there's no niyams, there's no regulations, no restrictions regarding the kala, regarding time. It can be chanted at any time. We read yesterday the story of Gopal Guru Goswami. Mahaprabhu was holding his tongue and he wouldn't go into the little boy Gopal asked, "What are you doing? Why are you holding your tongue, Mahaprabhu?" Before he's going into the latrine. And then Mahaprabhu said that I can't stop chanting and I don't want to chant when I'm in an impure condition. And then he said, "But what if you die? Anybody could die. Like, what if somebody dies?" And and then Mahaprabhu said, "Yes, actually, what you're saying is right. You are Gopal Guru Goswami." And then he gave him the name Gopal Guru. You are Guru. So, yes, there's no regulations regarding time in any condition, any state, any situation, any time. There's no restrictions on when you can remember these names. Etadrishi tava kripa. Etadrishi, such tava, your kripa, mercy, O Bhagavan. Such is your mercy, O Bhagavan. However, Mama, my durdaivam, my misfortune, idrisham is such. Mama durdaivam idrisham, my misfortune is such. Iha, here in these names, ajani nanuragha, no anurag, na anuragha, no spontaneous attraction or attachment, no attachment for these names, iha, here in these names, ajani, has arisen within me, has been born within me. So you have manifested all of your potency in your innumerable holy names. There are no restrictions on when they may be remembered. Oh Bhagavan, you are so merciful, but I am so unfortunate that spontaneous attachment, anurag, for your holy names has not arisen within my heart. And yesterday we read in Bhajana-rahasya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur begins the chapter with this second verse, the Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana. And what time of the day is that? That is, I think, from 6:30 till 8, if I remember correctly, approximately 6:30 to 8. And in the stages of bhakti from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha. So the first verse of Shikshashtakam, the Nishanta time, this is Shraddha. For the sadhak, for the beginning sadhak, this represents Shraddha. And at the time of Shraddha is the very, when you're the very beginning thing, the very first glimpse of my eternal nature that comes to me is this Shraddha. The first thing that develops within me that is part of my permanent nature, that's eternal. So Shraddha, and then we come to the Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana. This is from 6:30 to 8. No. Yeah, 6:30 to 8, was it? I think so. Or is it 6 till 8:30? I can't remember. Anyways, doesn't matter. We'll look. And this represents Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, and Anarthana Vritti. So this morning time period for the sadhak, this represents this. Um, and this verse, uh, this verse from Shikshashtakam, second verse. So also for the sadhak, that's what this represents. This sadhu sangha. So associating with, now you have some faith. At first, before there's faith, there has to be association with sadhus, otherwise, where does faith come from? So there is a little bit of sadhu sangha, but then after you have shraddha, then then you really begin associating with the sadhus, because everything that they're saying, you're hearing in a submissive way. And if you have shraddha is synonymous with Sharanagati. Srila Jiva Goswami explains how shraddha is synonymous with Sharanagati, and so Shraddha isn't a passive thing. It means what you're hearing, you truly believe it. And if you actually believe something, you're going to act on it. And so, so you're in sadhu sangha, and everything that you're hearing is, you have full faith in what they're saying. Yes, this is the truth. And, and that I only need to follow this. I don't need to worry about anything else. That's the definition of Shraddha, right? Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Ko Hai Sudhir. Anyways, so you're in sadhu sangha. And now the sadhus, what do? They speak Harikatha and they give instructions. And so when you follow those instructions, that's when you begin the process of bhajan. That's bhajana kriya. Now you've started actually engaging in the activities of bhakti. So shravan, kirtan, smaran, padasevan, all the different limbs of bhakti. And when you're doing that, then anarthana vritti happens. Then as you're engaging in the activities of bhajan, then your anarthas are starting to go. So this whole Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana and this second verse of Shikṣāṣṭakam is all representing that. Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anarthana Vritti. And so in this Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana, let's look at it. Wait, let me just open up the chapter. I didn't look at it thoroughly yet, but I got some kind of idea of the chapter. I just looked at it quickly, just like a little while ago. So this is also kind of like a discovery thing for me, because I've never thoroughly gone through Bhajana-rahasya before. So, okay. Oh, and Haribo. Oh, I didn't see everybody who joined. Sorry. Let's see. Dandavat Pranams, Ghanasham Prabhu, Sarveshwari Mataji, Chattamai Mataji, Devananda Prabhu, and Ganga Mataji. And I don't know who else is there. If you write a comment, I'll see your name, but I'm guessing Raseshwari Mataji and Dira Mataji and Vidyalala Sadiri. I don't know. Rohini Nandan Prabhu. And also pranams to all devotees watching in the future. Shachi Devi, Revati Didi, Manjari, and who else? Jaidev Prabhu. And anybody else. Okay, so let's continue on. So Bhajana-rahasya, Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana, what time is it? It's from 6 a.m. till 8:30 a.m. The first 6 dandas of the morning. Prata Kaliya Bhajan. So this time period of the day versus Nishanta. That's, at the end of the night, right when the sun is about to rise, and the sun becomes, the sky becomes bright. And now Prata. Prata is when the sun now is visible in the sky. The sun has risen, and this first time period. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur begins this with the second verse of Shikṣāṣṭakam. And then he goes through and explains. First, he explains how there's many names. He explains that with this verse. What is this verse here? From this verse from Krishna Namashtakam, Rupa Goswami's Krishna Namashtakam, which goes through, oh Nam, oh possess you have anek surupe, and so many surups. And then he goes through different surups, 8 different names. And so there's Agadamana, Yashoda Nandana, Nanda Sunu, Kamala Nayana, Gopi Chandra, Vrindavanendra, Pranata Karuna, and Krishna. So these are 8 names in this one verse by Rupa Goswami. Thus, iti means thus, anek surupe. You have many, many forms, many surups. So tvai mama ratir uchar vardatam namadeya. Oh, namadeya, vardatam. Um, may my rati for all these names, uchar vardatam, may it rise high. I'm guessing that's what uchar here means. May it increase, may it greatly increase for all these different names of yours. And then we read Srila Gurudev's explanation on each one of these names. He gave a very rasik explanation for each one of these names. So that was Nam Nam Akari Bahuda. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a verse for Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita. Krishna, how you invest tatra there in these names, Nija Sarva Shakti, all of your Shaktis, your entire potency. So what verse does he give for that? He gives this verse, Dana Vrata Tapas Tirtha. This is from the Skanda Puran. Yatadrinam Chayastita Shaktayo Deva Mahatam Sarva Papa Hara Shubha. So all the Shakti to Sarva Papa Hara, to remove, Hara means to remove, Sarva Papa, to remove all sins, and Shubha, and to bestow auspiciousness, all the Shakti that you get, all the potency that these different performances of dan, giving in charities, vrata, that means performing, performing vows, tapa, austerities, tirtha yatra, pilgrimage to holy places, and adinam, and all other kinds of, pious acts like that. So yastita, what is all the Shakti that is situated within all these, stita means situated, right? Within all these different performances, all the Shakti to sarva papahara, to remove all sin and to bestow auspiciousness. And also, even the performance of Rajasuya yagyas and Ashwamedha yagya, and also Gyan, knowledge of Adhyatma Vastu, of transcendental objects. Hari has taken all the Shakti from all these things that you get from doing all these things. Akrishya, I'm guessing Akrishya means he attracts the potency, he takes all the potency from all these different things. Harina means by Hari, Sarva, of all things, of all acts, all everything, and Stapita, and he places it Sweshu Nameshu. He places it within his names. Sweshu means within, his own, and Namasu means in the names. It's plural, and it says in the names. So Sweshu Namasu. So whatever, let's see what the translation says. Whatever potency to nullify sins or bestow auspiciousness found in charity, vows, austerities, pilgrimage, the Rajasuya and Ashwamedha sacrifices, knowledge of transcendental objects, and so forth, has been invested by Sri Krishna in his holy names. That is, the primary names. So any Shakti that we can think about in this world, Krishna put all that Shakti in the name. So you don't need to do any other activity other than chant Harinam. Anything that you can attain from any other practice, you can easily get that from Harinam. And here, this verse is just talking about all the Shakti that you can that's in any of these material activities. What to speak of Krishna's all his transcendental Shaktis in the Vaikuntha, everything, all Shaktis are in the name. So that is Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita. Okay, now the next verse goes through Smarane Nakala. No, Niyamita Smarane Nakala. So Smarane, in remembrance of these names, Smarane, Niyamita, there's no restrictions, no regulations regarding time. And everything's included in time. Time means at any time. Oh, I'll say Desh. So let's see. Na Desh Kala Niyamo, Na Shocha Shochanir Naya, Param Sankirtana Deva Rama Rama Rameti Muchyate. So, um, so by repeating Rama, the names Ram, Krishna's names, then there's no na desha kala niyamo. There's no niyam. There's no restrictions. There's no rules regarding desh, regarding what place you're in, and kala, what time it is. And there's no consideration, and there's no nirnay. There's no there's also no, it's also like consideration. Niyam is restriction and nirnay is like consideration, right? There's no consideration regarding whether you're shocha, whether you're pure, or ashocha, impure. But from this Sankirtan of Rama, of the names of Krishna, certainly, Param Muchyate. One gets the topmost, the Param, the topmost Muchyate, topmost liberation. That's how it's translated here, at least. It says topmost liberation. So I'm guessing he's connecting the word Param with Muchyate. This is just that's what I'm guessing, though. And what is the topmost liberation? What is the topmost form of is Prem Bhakti? Okay, so that was yeah. Niyamita smarane nakala. Now what's next? Etadrishi tava kripa. Such is your mercy. This verse I really need to try to understand the Sanskrit. I haven't done that yet. So yeah. I wasn't able to explain it very nicely yesterday, and I still didn't look at it, so I won't be able to do much better than I did yesterday. But daivena te hatadhiyo. Okay, so now we come to in the second verse of Shikshashtakam, we come to the word durdaivam, misfortune, durdaivam. Mama api durdaivam idrisham. My misfortune is such. Mama durdaivam idrisham. So, what is misfortune? The characteristics of misfortune are described in Srimad Bhagavatam 397. This is what is meant by misfortune. Those persons who refrain from the hearing and chanting of your glories, which destroys all misfortune, and instead always engage in inauspicious activities, being obsessed with a desire for a particle of material sense enjoyment, are certainly wretched, for fate has stolen away their intelligence. Okay, my homework for today is to be able to understand all the Sanskrit of this verse, and then I will be able to explain it. But I can just see right now, Daivena, that means by fate. Hatadiyo means their intelligence has been hata, destroyed or stolen away. Bhavata prasangat. Yeah, this material existence prasangat. No. Bhavata is you, right? And prasangat means prasanga is like narrations of you. So hearing about you, O Lord. Sarva shubho apashamadnad vimokendriya te. So these prasanga, these narrations about you, this harikatha, sarva shubha upashama. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to waste your time. I could probably slowly start to piece everything together and figure it out, but I don't want to take too much time. So I'll do this tomorrow. We'll go through the Sanskrit. But okay. So now this is Durdaivam. This is the definition of what is misfortune. Misfortune is when you refrain from hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna, which destroys all misfortune. And instead of engaging in those things, it's going to destroy all your misfortune. It's going to bring all auspiciousness. Instead of doing that, you just engage in inauspicious activities, being obsessed with a desire for a particle of material sense enjoyment. Lava means lesh. Lesh means just a tiny speck, just the tiniest speck of kam sukh, of lusty sense enjoyment, kam sukh, kurvanti. Just for that, the most meager, and it's not even real happiness. But anyways, the particle of material sense enjoyment, you're going to ignore this holy name, hearing and chanting Shravan and Kirtan, which will bestow the topmost auspiciousness and destroy all your misfortune. But instead of doing that, you're just gonna, and that is real misfortune. There's no more bigger misfortune than that. And so, yeah, why are there misfortune? Because fate has stolen away their intelligence. How stupid could he be to have this? Yeah. So, so that's misfortune. And now that's where we left off yesterday. And now text 6 of Bhajana-rahasya. He quotes Srimad Bhagavatam 1:7-4-6. So let's Bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranihite male apashyat purusham purnam mayang cha tar apashrayam yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manute nartham tatkritam chavipadyate anartho pashamang shakshar bhakti yogam adhokshaje lokasya janato vidvangsh chakre satvata sanghitam. With a pure heart, Sri Krishna Dvaipayan Vedavyas became absorbed in meditation through the process of bhakti yoga. He thus saw the Supreme Person, Sri Krishna, along with his external energy, along with Maya, which was far away from him, but under his control. Due to this Maya, the conditioned living entity, the Baddha Jiva, forgets his service to Krishna and becomes affected by anarthas. Although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, the living entity who is bewildered by Maya considers himself a material product. He thus identifies himself with this body and considers that which is related to it to be his. The infinitesimal living entity can only be delivered by Krishna Bhakti Yoga. But the mass of people in the material world are ignorant of this fact. Understanding this, Sri Vyasadeva manifested Bhagavatam through Bhakti Yoga. So this text 6 is the perfect segue for the rest of this chapter. First, we go through the potency, the power of Harinam, how merciful Krishna is to give his entire Shakti. He's given us himself fully and completely. And not only has he given us himself, his name, which has all of his Shaktis, has everything we need to completely destroy any kind of misfortune and to give us the greatest auspiciousness, but he also made it so easy. Like he didn't give any restrictions on when we can chant it. We could chant it at any time of the day or night or any condition, any state of mind. There's no rules. So he gave us the topmost thing and he gave it so easily. But even though he's so merciful, we just ignore it. Whatever. I don't really care. Like we don't actually take it seriously. And we'd rather work really hard rather than putting in a little effort to chant Harinam. We'd rather work really hard and like really toil and go through so much effort just for the tiniest, stupidest little fake, insignificant happiness. So that is Durdaivam. So why? Like why are we so stupid? Like why what's the problem? And so this verse is showing, okay, this is why this is why I'm in this condition. This is why I'm so stupid and why I'm in this situation. And so now we understand the reason why we understand. first is like the symptoms. This is what our issue is. We have this misfortune, and now this is answering why we have this misfortune. It's because of Maya, and due to this Maya, the conditioned living entity forgets his service to Krishna and becomes affected by anarthas. So when you forget Krishna, when you turn away from Krishna, then you become affected by anarthas. And these anarthas are, we need to remove these anarthas. This is all the dirt and crap in our heart that we need to get rid of. And so then the rest of the chapter, so now we understand the reason, the situation, we got the diagnosis. Oh no, now the rest of this is giving us now he's going to explain, okay, what are these anarthas? Misfortune. And he goes into great detail, describing from the Amnaya Sutra Vyakya. These are all the misfortune, all these impediments and unfavorable things that we need to remove. This is all the dust, the dirt in our heart that we need to get rid of. And so he goes through very clearly, explains the 4 different types of anarthas, and each one of those 4 types are further divided into 4 types. They're all divided further into 4. And then the anarthas are nullified. Then after he goes through all of that, then the anarthas are nullified by Nam Sankirtan. So how do we get rid of those anarthas? By Nam Sankirtan. So now he's giving us the process. He's giving us the positive. Now we're getting very clear on every single type of thing that I need to remove from my heart. And now he's giving us the process for how to remove it all. And now all the positive things. So Harinam Sankirtan, that's how we remove these anarthas. And then I have to see how Bhayam Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana fits in. I think taking shelter of Guru, right? I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. Sarguru Ashray Kori Krishna Kripa Ashay. Ananya Bhajana Kori Jai Krishna Pashay. Yeah. So taking shelter of Guru. The characteristics of Bhakti Yoga described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. And then after that, the 4th verse of the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, one who's inquisitive. Okay, so he's explaining to us all the different things all the positive things that we do to remove these anarthas. And he's giving us a very clear process. And he goes through the first verses of Upadeshamrita, Vacho Begam, Manasakroda Begam, and Atyahara Prayasashcha. These are all the things that destroy bhakti that we need to avoid. And then all the favorable things for bhakti, Dadati Pratigrinati, how we behave with devotees, the 6 kinds of symptoms of love and affection between devotees. Right? Sadhu Sangha, right? This is how we engage in Sadhu Sangha. And yeah. Anyways, that's just half the chapter. Drishta Swabhava Janata. Wow, this is great. Pratishtasha Drishta. How to remove pratishta. How to remove duplicity. These verses from Manashiksha. Now he gives the 10 offenses to the holy name. Satam Ninda Namna. The 10 offenses to the holy name. Then what comes after that? One who's qualified to chant the name gives up all fruitive activities. Anyways, so I'm starting to get a little bit of an idea of what this chapter is like. It's getting very deep into how we engage in bhajana kriya and the anartha nivritti and sadhu sangha. All right, so let's look at the Bhajana-rahasya vritti for this verse, which explains why do we have this misfortune? Why am I so stupid? Hatta Dio. Why is my intelligence been removed? So let's first, he gives a Bengali verse explaining these Sanskrit verses in brief. So Krishna, or actually he describes him a bit more deeply. Yeah. Okay, so Krishna Krishna Maya Jiva Eitina Tattva Maya Mohe Maya Baddha Jiver Anartha Chitkana Jiver Krishna Bhakti Yoga Bole Anartha Vinashta Hoy Krishna Prem Phale এই তত্ত্ব নাম সমাধিতে পাইল ব্যাস Bhagavate Bhakti Yoga Korilo Prakash. Okay, I didn't look at this Bengali before, and I'm not good at translating on the fly. I get nervous and my brain doesn't work, but I'm going to just try. So these are the three tattvas. There's Krishna, Krishna Maya, and the Jiva, right? Krishna, Maya, Jiva. And so by this Krishna's Maya, by the illusory potency, Maya Mohe, bewildered by the Maya bound Jivas, anarthas, has many anarthas. Jivas has many anarthas due to being completely captivated and allured and bewildered by Maya and then being bound by Maya. So the Jiva has lots of anarthas. Then Chit Kana Jiva Krishna Bhakti Yoga Bole Anartha Vinashta Hoy Krishna Prem Pale. But this tiny speck of consciousness, the Jiva, by the power of Bole means by the strength, by the power of Krishna Bhakti Yoga, of engaging in Bhakti Yoga to Krishna, then all the anarthas vinashta hoy, are destroyed. And Krishna Prem Phale. And the result is like and one gets the fruit of Krishna Prem. Krishna Prem Phale. Krishna Prem fructifies. Or whatever, I don't know. Phale. Yeah. It fruits. Can turn the word fruit into a verb. It fruits. So a tattva nama samadhite pailo vyas. So this tattva, by meditation on the name, Vyas understood this tattva. And then Bhagavate Bhakti Yoga Korilo Prakash. And then he manifested Bhakti Yoga within the Bhagavatam. And this is all described in, was it the 7th chapter of the first canto? I think so. Yeah, 7th chapter of the first canto. Okay. So now the Bhajana-rahasya vritti. Sri Krishna Dvaipayan Ved Vyas manifested all the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, and so forth. Even though he had realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth, and his sound incarnation, Shabda Brahma, he remained dissatisfied, feeling an inner lack. He inquired from Sri Narad about this, who answered, Narad said, "You have not described Sri Krishna's sweet pastimes and spotless glories. You should do so, and by this, your heart will become satisfied." By the mercy of Sri Narad, and by the means of Bhakti Yoga, Veda Vyas, with a pure heart, became absorbed in meditation and received darshan of all Sri Bhagavan's pastimes. He then manifested the Bhagavatam, the fully ripened fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literature. The essential teaching of this incident is that when the mind of the living entity becomes pure through the practice of bhakti, then by the combined mercy of the Sanvit and Hladini Shaktis, he can experience Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya, and his own constitutional nature, his own swarup. He experiences Krishna, Yogamaya, and his own constitutional nature, his swarup. The object of bhajan will manifest in the heart naturally through bhakti yoga. Those who desire liberation through jnana and karma are deprived of realization of the complete, eternally conscious object. The words Purusham Purnam in this text refer to Swayam Bhagavan Vrajendranandan Sham Sundar, who is the possessor of all potencies. He is Sarva Shaktiman, and to all the residents of Raj, including the gopis. By means of Bhakti Yoga, Srila Vyasadeva saw Bhagavan's various manifestations and his 3 potencies, his Swarup Shakti, Maya Shakti, and Jiva Shakti. And I think this is important. Vyasadeva had to see, like Vyasadeva had already, it said that he already had realization of Shabda Brahma and Krishna himself. But Vyasadeva also had to see the Maya Shakti and the Jiva Shakti. Otherwise, because of course, Vyasadeva isn't covered by Maya, but if he doesn't have any understanding of what the Jivas are going through, like how the Jivas are covered by Maya and how they're suffering, and like he doesn't have, then how can he help them? I don't know. I'm just speculating here. Okay, let's continue on. Sorry, I'll shut up. Okay, through his Swarup Shakti, Bhagavan performs eternal transcendental pastimes. Maya Shakti has two functions to control the jivas who are averse to Bhagavan. Maya has the avaranatmika, that's one of the functions. She covers the real knowledge of the jiva. So avarana means covering, and vikshepatmika. Vikshepa means she hurls the jivas. She throws them down into the ocean of material existence. She covers them and throws them into the material world of avarana, and vikshepa. So those living entities who are controlled by material activities are moved by the desire to gratify their senses. And Maya Devi makes them dance like puppets. An argument can be raised in this connection. When Vyasadeva received darshan of the Supreme Lord's form, qualities, pastimes, and so forth, what was the purpose of his also receiving darshan of Maya? The answer is that Vyasadeva was not an ordinary living being. So he had no familiarity with the suffering of the conditioned souls ensnared by Maya. How then could he help them? For this reason, he also received darshan of the illusory energy. Okay, so this is what I was saying before, and that thought probably came to my head because I did read this and I just forgot that I read it. So yeah, that's why. That's why how could he help the jivas if he had no familiarity with the suffering of them, of their suffering? So he had to have darshan of Maya. He had to see what situation they're in, and then he could have some sympathy and, oh, okay, he could know how to help them. For this reason, he had received darshan of the illusory energy. The acharyas write that the living entities who are controlled by Maya are absorbed in the three modes, devoured by the great disease of material existence, and unable to taste the sweetness of Sri Bhagavan. The liberation of the living entities bound by Maya is possible only when Maya's coverings are removed. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains in his commentary on this text that to cure a sick patient, an expert doctor prescribes both medicine and a good diet. The remedial measure for the conditioned living entities is the process of bhakti. The medicine is hearing Harikatha and chanting Harinam. And the diet is to stay in the association of devotees and avoid offenses. This is great. Okay. So I really like this. The medicine is hearing Harikatha and chanting Harinam, and the diet is to stay in the association of devotees and avoid offenses. So if you don't have a good diet and you're taking medicine, then the medicine's not gonna have effect, right? Like you can't just like pop a bunch of pills and like think you're gonna be healthy. You have to have a diet also. If you're eating junk and you know living off of candy and 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 like fried things and drinking Coca-Cola and whatever, then even if you're taking medicine, medicine's not going to be able to do much. Um, but you have to have a good diet and the medicine together. So we need Harikatha and we need to chant Harinam, but it's not going to help us much if we don't have a good diet of being in sadhu sangha and not making offenses. So after receiving the above-mentioned darshan, Srila Vyas manifested Srimad Bhagavatam, the eternal authoritative scripture that is filled with all truths. He did this for the benefit of ignorant people who are devoured by the great disease of material existence. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, the living entities can become free from their anarthas and ignorance, and thus obtain Krishna Prem. Shri Krishna's prem-filled transcendental pastimes with the Vraja-devis are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. By hearing these narrations with faith, the living entities can again become established in their eternal dharma. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-36 states, Ya Shrutva Tatparo Bhavet. Upon hearing such pastimes, one becomes dedicated to him. If we really hear, Ya Shrutva Tatparo Bhavet. And the reason why maybe some of us, definitely myself, why I don't become dedicated to him even after hearing such pastimes is because I haven't actually heard. Hearing is not a physical, it's not just, it doesn't mean that you hear words and then you're able to remember them. That's not hearing. There are many different types of hearing, and real hearing is when you actually get experience. Srila Jiva Goswami explains anubhav. Anyways, whatever, we'll get into that later, maybe. So service to Sri Radha and Sri Krishna is filled with the sweetest nectar of prem, and to become established in service to them is the purpose of life. One can achieve this after the removal of one's anarthas through the process of bhakti yoga, the essence of all truths. Okay, so it is 5 minutes till 8. And this next topic is big, so we'll stop here. We'll stop here, and tomorrow we will read about the anarthas, all the 4 kinds of anarthas, and how those 4 kinds of anarthas are further divided into 4. It's very important to know what is the disease that we have, what are the things that we need to remove. That's very important to know. So, well, that's the topic for tomorrow. But yeah, I think it's really beautiful how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur arranged the verses. First, he explains the second verse of Shikṣāṣṭakam, each one of the parts of the verse, and then it ends with Durdaivam, misfortune. Why do I have such great misfortune that I'm not taking what you so easily gave me? You don't even give me any rules to chant it, and you gave all your Shakti, everything, and you made it so easy. Why am I so misfortunate that I can't just chant? Why am I working so hard for all these material things, and I don't even give a little effort to the topmost thing which you gave me? So then he explains how Vyasadeva had darshan, Vyasadeva through meditating on the name. Then Vyasadeva had, he saw Krishna, and then he saw Maya far away from Krishna. Okay, that's the reason. And Vyasadeva had to see Maya so that he could understand why the living entities, how they were suffering. He had to be able to understand and so then he could help them. And then he gave us the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam and Harinam. By Srimad Bhagavatam, that's Shravan. What do we hear? We hear everything's based on Srimad Bhagavatam. That is our ultimate Pramanam Amalam. That everything is based on Srimad Bhagavatam for us. And so we have that, and we have Nam. And so we hear and we chant. Hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and we chant Harinam. And by this process, then we can remove anarthas. So we know why we're in this situation, why we have all these, why we're so why we have this misfortune. And now we see that Vyasadeva so mercifully gave us everything that we need to remove all those anarthas, and so that we can have, fortune. Okay. We'll end here. Oh, wait, no. For those of you who are staying longer, we're going to go through the Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana, the first Nishanta time of the day, Shraddha, this section of Bhajana-rahasya. And if anybody is going now, Dandavat Pranams, thank you so much for joining. This is our Chaturmasya program. And as I mentioned before, I know it's not Nishanta time. Really, these verses are meant to be chanted during Nishanta, but right now we're just looking at them so that we can become familiar with them, so that eventually at some point we could practice it on our own. Be able to chant these verses during the different times of the day. So this is like a study session, not really a practice session. What are we doing? Where is it? Oh, yeah. It's on my website. Okay, 1 second. There it is. Line of devotion. Sorry, guys. Okay. You can find it here on my website, vineofdevotion.com. Middle of the page on this last post, Pratyamayam-sādhana. Okay. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu states that Namabhas destroys all sins and liberates one from material existence. Tam nirvyajam bhajaguna nidhe pavana pavananam Shraddharajan matiratitaram uttama shlokamaulim prodyan anta karanakuhare hantayannama bhanor abhasopi kshapayati maha pataka dvantarashim. O Gunanide, O treasure house of virtues, one who chants Harinam, they are Gunanide, they are treasure house of virtues. So worship, bhaja, worship, tongue, worship him, nirvyajam, without any deceit, without any duplicity, with complete sincerity, pure heartedness, nirvyajam. Worship him, who is pavanam, pavananam. He is the purifier of all purifiers. Pavanam, pavananam, the redeemer of all redeemers. He is, worship him, Shraddha Rajan Matir Atitaram, with your mind exceedingly, completely, fully Rajan, fully imbued, fully colored by Shraddha. Worship him, he who is Uttama Shloka Molim, who is the foremost of those who are glorified with the topmost verses. Any glorifications, the topmost glorifications you can think of, he is the crest jewel of that. So, just in a bus, even in a bus, api means even in a bus, a dim glow, the slightest dawning of the bhanu, of the sun, of Yannam, of his name, when it arises in the kuhari means in the cave of the antakarana, within the cave of the heart, then kshapayati, it immediately destroys, it removes the dvanta rashim, the vast rashim, the vast or mass of dvanta, of darkness, which is our mahapatak, which is our most grievous sins that we've accumulated over unlimited lifetimes, all that darkness of ignorance and all the bad things. Just the abbas, not even the name itself, just the reflection of the name. Or what, reflection, is that the right word? Not. Anyways, just the semblance of the name will destroy all that. Yeah, actually, reflection is not good. We don't want the reflection is means, yeah, pratibimba. That's like very bad. So, okay. So now let's recite these verses. Parama pavana Krishna tahar charan nishkapata shraddha saha koroho bhajan jar naam suryabhas antare praveshi dhvangsha kore mahapap andakar rashi. So Krishna is Parama Pavan. He is supremely purifying. So Koroho Bhajan, worship him. Engage in his bhajan. Engage in bhajan of Tahar Charan, of his feet. Saha, with Nishkapat Shraddha, with sincere. Nishkapat. Nishkapat means there's no kapat, there's no duplicity. Completely sincere, pure-hearted Shraddha, pure-hearted faith. Jar Nam Suryabhas Antare Praveshi, when just a Suryabhas, when just the slightest glow of the sun, when the slightest dawning of the sun of his name, Antare Praveshi, having entered within, Praveshya means having entered, Antare, within, Dhvangsha Kore, it destroys, Mahapap Andakar Rashi, the deep darkness of grievous sin, Mahapap Andakar Rashi. So now the methodology of Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka. E Śikṣāṣṭake kohe Krishna lila kram, ihate bhajana krame lilar udgam. E Śikṣāṣṭaka, this Śikṣāṣṭaka, kohe, it describes Krishna lila kram. It describes the kram, the progressive unfolding of Krishna lila, of Krishna's pastimes. Ihate, in it, those pastimes arise, lilar udgam, they arise through bhajan krame, through the systematic path of bhajan, the step-by-step path of bhajan. These pastimes arise by the step-by-step path of bhajan. As we perform these activities of bhajan, bhajana kriya, and these anarthas starts to be removed from the heart by this process of bhajan, to the degree that the anarthas are removed, to that degree we will get realization of ourselves and of Krishna's pastimes. And this is all done through this. Śikṣāṣṭaka is a very systematic, step-by-step method to make this happen. So pratame pratama shlok bhaju kichudin. So first, pratam shlok bhaju kichudin. Worship the first verse, pratam shlok, kichudin, for some days, for some time. Then dvitiya shlokete tabe hoto pravin. Then coming to the second verse, the dvitiya shlok, tabe, then hoto pravin, you'll become practiced, you'll become experienced, pravin. And then chari shloke kramasha bhajana pakva koro. Then through the first 4 verses, the chari shloke, all those first 4 verses, kramasha, gradually, bhajana pakva koro, bring your bhajan to maturity. Pakva koro, mature your bhajan. Pakva means mature, koro, do that. Mature your bhajan to the first 4 verses of Śikṣāṣṭakam. And then, pancham shlokete, in the 5th verse, that's Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, that's the stage of asakti, nija siddha deha varo. Then varo, choose, or like you take shelter of your own nija siddha deha, your own perfected spiritual body. Oishloke, so with that, in that verse, in that 5th verse, the stage of asakti, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, by beginning to take shelter of Radha's feet, siddha dehe, within your siddha deha, so Radha Padashray, siddha dehe, taking shelter of Radha Rani's feet within your siddha deha, and aramba koriya. Then from this point, then advancement gradually awakens. Unnati udoy. It gradually, unnati, it advances. Unnati udoy. Yeah. It awakens. Udoy means awakens. Unnati means advancement. Krame means gradually. It begins from this point. This is like now when you're moving into the stage of bhav. Everything that we do in our sadhana what we do cannot be called real bhakti sadhana if we're not aiming to reach bhav. Right? That Srila Rupa Goswami explains that. What's the verse? Kriti sadhya bhavit sadhya bhav sadhana bhida. So if you're not striving to achieve bhav in whatever activity of bhakti you're doing, then it's actually not sadhan bhakti. It's just something else. So here now, from the stage of asakti, you're moving into bhav. Now, char shlok bhajite anartha dure gelo. Now practicing up to the 6th verse, nayanam galarashudharaya. This is the stage of bhav. Then all anarthas are driven far away. Anartha dure gelo. Tabe, then, jana, you should know that siddha dehe adhikar hoilo. Now you have attained the qualification for the siddha deha. Adhikar na labhiya siddha deha bhave, viparjay buddhi janme shaktir abhave. If without proper qualification, adhikar na labhiya, you have not attained proper qualification, one meditates on the siddha deha bhave, they think about their siddha deha, then viparjay buddhi janme, then this backwards, mistaken understanding, viparjay buddhi janme, will arise. Why? Because shaktir abhave, because you lack abhav, there's a lack of shakti, of spiritual strength. So therefore, savadhane, very carefully, kram dharo, follow this step-by-step path of Shikṣāṣṭakam, Jadi Siddhi Chao, if you want to attain perfection. If you don't want to attain perfection, if you don't want to attain your Siddha Deha, you want something else, you want fame and you want to become popular and you want money and you want all these other things, then okay, then you don't need to carefully follow this process. But if you want to attain perfection, if you want to, then savadani kramdaro, then very carefully follow the step-by-step path of the Shikṣāṣṭaka and sadhura charita deki shuddha buddhi pao. And while you're following the Shikṣāṣṭaka, you have to observe the character, the charita, the character of sadhus. That's why it's so important to follow these appearance days and disappearance days in the year when they come up, because during those days we very carefully we glorify and we hear about the conduct, the amazing qualities of these sadhus, and we can try to begin to follow them. And by hearing about observing the conduct of sadhus and hearing about them, then shuddha buddhi pao, then we will gain purified intelligence. Shuddha buddhi, not this viparjaya buddhi, not this mistaken backwards intelligence. We'll get shuddha buddhi, pure intelligence. Then siddha deha pe krame bhajana korile ashtakala seva sukh anayase mile. Having received your siddha deha and practiced bhajan in the proper sequence, the bliss of service throughout the 8 periods of the day, ashtakala seva, will come anayas, without any effort. Anayase mile. We saw this word, ayas, in the previous verse. Well, in this verse in the verse that we went through yesterday, the last verse that we went through yesterday, we saw this word, ayas. Where is it? Oh, I guess it's not in the verse here. It was in Srila Bhakti. Oh, it's here. He says, akushala ayase, lob. So they're greedy to exert themselves in inauspicious, akushala, inauspicious acts, ashe, in hopes of obtaining just a trace, the tiniest speck of lusty happiness or sensual happiness. They go through all this ayas, all this effort. But if we follow the process of Shikṣāṣṭakam, then anayas, without any effort, we'll get the ashtakala seva sukh. We'll gain the happiness of service throughout the 8 periods of the day, if we follow the step-by-step process and naturally attain our siddha deha by that. Okay, so therefore, Shikṣāṣṭaka chinta koro smarana kirtan. Contemplate the Shikṣāṣṭaka. Shikṣāṣṭaka chinta. Koro smarana kirtan, and engage. Koro means engage in smaran and kirtan, and remembrance and chanting. Then krame, gradually, ashtakala seva, habe uddipan. Then this ashtakala seva, this service throughout the 8 periods of the day, will be awakened, uddipan. And sakala anartha jabe, pabe prem dhan. All the anarthas will go away, and pabe, and you will attain prem dhan, the treasure of prem. And at that time, chatur varga phalgu pray, the 4 mundane goals of life, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, will appear phalgu, appear just false, completely fake, and what the heck is that? And actually, you won't even know about it. Have adarshan. It will fade from view. Completely fade from view. Adarshan. You won't even see it. All right, so now we come to Shikṣāṣṭaka verse 1. Cheto darpana marjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Pita varana kali pavana gora gavaya ichana bhava vibhora chitta darpana parimarjana kari Krishna kirtana jai chitta bihari. Hela bhavadava nirvapana vritti Krishna kirtana jai klesha nivritti Shreya kumuda vidu jyotsna prakasha Krishna kirtana jai bhakti vilasa Vishuddha vidya vadhu jivana rupa Krishna kirtana jai Siddha swarupa Ananda payo nidhi vardhana kirti Krishna kirtana jai plavana murti Pade pade piyusha swada pradata Krishna kirtana jai prema vidata Bhakti vinoda swatma snapana vidhana Krishna kirtana jai prema nidhana Krishna kirtana jai prema nidhana. Okay, now the verse from Govinda Lilamrita. Ratrante trasta vrinde rita bahu viravai bodhito kirashari padyar hridyar ahridyar api sukashayanad uttito to sakhibi दृष्टो हृष्टो तदा त्वोदितरतिललितो ककटिगी सशङ्कौ राधा कृष्णौ सतृष्णाव अपि निज निज धाम्नप्ततल्पौ स्मरामि. Ratri ante, at the end, ante, at the end of Ratri, of night. Radha and Krishna bodhito, they are awakened by the rabbi, by the sounds of Bahu Vi, of the many birds which are irita, which are sent by Trasta Vrinda, by an anxious Vrinda. Vrinda Devi is anxious because she has to wake up Radha and Krishna. She has to arrange for them to wake up because they have to get back home soon before anybody finds out that they're gone. So then, and Uttito, now they have arisen. First, they have awakened by the sounds of the birds, and now they have arisen from their blissful sleep, Sukha Shayanad, having heard the the pleasing, the hridayar, the pleasing to the heart verses, and the ahridayar, the not pleasing to the heart verses, by the verses, padhyay, verses of Kira and Shari, of the parrots and the myna birds. So to is referring to those two, Radha and Krishna. Then the Sakis, drishto, observed by the Sakis. So Radha and Krishna are observed by the Sakis, and Hrishto, and they are very happy. Radha and Krishna are they are very blissful, happy, due to the, and they're very lovely, graceful, beautiful, due to the rati that udita, that has arisen tadatva at that time. But all of a sudden, kakati gi sashanko, all of a sudden they're startled and they're filled with fear all of a sudden, hearing the sounds of kakati, that's the older female monkey who calls out Jatila, Jatila. And so, oh my God, yeah. So they're startled by the cries of kakati. And so then Radha and Krishna, Satrishna even though they are longing for each other, api means even though, Satrishna, they're filled with longing and thirsting for each other. Nija Nija Dhamni, to their own abodes, Nija Nija, their own respective Dhamni, abodes, Apta Talpo, they reach their beds. Smarami, I remember that Radha, I remember this pastime of Radha and Krishna. And now Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gives this verse. I still haven't made my own translation. This is still just a ChatGPT translation, just so you know. But okay. Dekhiya arunodoy vrinda devi vyasta hoy kunje nana rava korailo shuka sari padya shuni uthe radha nilamani sakhi gan dekhi hrishta hoilo. At the sight of the reddish dawn, Vrindadevi becomes anxious and causes various sounds to arise in the grove. Hearing the verses of the parrots and maynas, Radha and Nilamani, the blue sapphire, Krishna, they rise from their blissful bed. Their sakis see them and become joyful. Kalo chitta sulalita kakatira rave bhita Radha Krishna Satrishna hoiya Neja neja grihe gela Nibhrite shayana koila Dunhe bhaji shelila smariya. Kalochita. At that time, their forms are very lalita. They're very charming, due to the, what is it? What did it say? Rati uday, the arising of the rati, the love of that time. So then, startled by the cry of kakati, afraid, bhita means afraid, by the rava, by the sounds of kakati, Radha and Krishna, Satrishna Hoya, they start to long for each other. We're going to have to separate from each other. And so they're longing, thirsting for each other. But Nija Nija Grihe Gela, they go to their own respective homes, Nibhrite, and very secretly, in secret, without anybody coming to know, they Shayana Koila, they lay down in their beds. Dunhe Bhaji She Lila Smari. I worship those two. Dunhe Bhaji, I worship those two. She Lila Smaria, having remembered She Lila, that pastime. Elila Smara Elila Smara Argao Krishna Nama Krishna Lila Prem Dhan Pabe Krishna Dham. So Elila Smara. Remember this Lila. Ar and Gao Krishnam. Sing Krishna's name. You will attain Krishna's abode. Pabe. Pabe means you will attain Krishna Dham. You'll attain Krishna's pastimes, and you'll attain Prem Dhan, the wealth of Prem. All right, so that is our program for today. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, we have to end with Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Jai Shri Gurudev ki Jai, Jai Shri Param Gurudev ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Sapar Shaji Gaur Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajana-rahasya ki Jai, Jai Shri Harinam Shri Chaitanya Shikṣāṣṭaka ki Jai, Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Vrindai Tulsi Devai, Priyaya Keshavasacha, Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi, Satyavatai Namo Namaha, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams, Sarveshwari Mataji, and Ghanasham Prabhu, and I think, I'm guessing that's Bhavatarani Mataji on the iPhone, and maybe Nari Hari Prabhu is there also. And then also Ganga Mataji and Rama Suyal and Rohini Nandan Prabhu and all the other devotees watching. I'm guessing Indira Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, Vidyalala Sadidi, and all other devotees. Krishna Mai Didi. And also pranams to all devotees watching in the future, like Revati Didi, Shachi Devi, Jaidev Prabhu, Manjari Didi, and anybody else. If you leave a comment, then I will know you're joining and I'll also mention your name. All right. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much for joining. See you all tomorrow. Is there anything anybody wants to mention before we finish? Nope. Okay. See you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's Anartha Day. We'll go through the 4 types of Anarthas and how each one of those 4 types are further divided into 4. So very important tomorrow.